what's going on. I had mentioned back a few weeks ago I was going to try to put some other recipes, things like that on here. So I'm going to actually put together the recipe that my mom sent me for these almond flour chocolate chip cookies. They're keto friendly. It's going to give you about, let's see here, about 5 grams of carbs per cookie. So depending on your window on the keto diet, that will serve its purpose and you will be happy you actually have something like that to eat. Almond flour, let's see here, we got an egg, we got some butter, we got some chocolate chips, we have, I use Swerve as the sugar replacement, baking powder, vanilla extract, and the weird ingredient, which sometimes is a little hard to find, is the beef gelatin powder, but you can find all the ingredients below here. And so I'm going to put together the recipe in the for these almond flour chocolate chip cookies. So just kind of check out the video and see how it goes. All right, so here I have half a cup of butter. I'm cubing it right now because I'm going to put it in the microwave to melt it 15 seconds at a time. So that pops in the microwave. Then I start working on the almond flour. I used about 1 3/4 cups of almond flour here. Kind of eyeballed the 3/4 part, but it's 1 3/4. Checked on the butter. There's the Lily's dark chocolate baking chips, using half a cup of those, and I set them to the side. And then keep checking on the butter. And then there's the Swerve, the sugar replacement. Now I'm using half a cup here, so that's 1/4, and then another quarter I pour into the bowl there. And then beef gelatin powder. That's a tougher thing to find. Use 1 tablespoon of beef gelatin powder, pour it in the mixture, and then some baking powder. Baking powder, use 1 teaspoon, plop it in there. Then vanilla extract, I also use 1 teaspoon. So I'm going to pour it into this and set it off to the side for later. Check on the butter. And then next up, check my watch. There it is. Back to the butter. There I am. And there's the butter right there melted. I'm going to put the vanilla extract, actually the egg first. There's the egg, 1 egg. Boom, crack it. And then beat it in the butter a bit. We're going to whisk it with that vanilla extract. So here's the whisking, yada, yada, yada. Swish, swish, swish. Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. There it is. And then I start to fold in that powdered mixture. That's the almond flour. That's the Swerve. That's the beef gelatin powder, the baking powder. And I mix it in slowly and just continuously, thoroughly mix it in. Get a nice blend as I'm whisking it around. You can see the texture changes quite a bit. Gets nice and thick. Not too thick because you want a little bit of, oh, there we go. There's the Lily's. Salt Bay. Drop it, Salt Bay. Keep going with that chocolate. Yada, yada, yada. Mixing, mixing, mixing. And then, let's see, I get 2 spoons here because it's going to be easiest. I'm trying to get the stuff out of the whisk right now, using the spoon, just trying to separate everything out as best as possible because the mixture gets a little thick. So as you can see here, just kind of working my way through, spreading the whisk out, and slowly but surely just keep mashing it, separating it, and et cetera, et cetera. Those 2 spoons will come in handy later, so I keep them. I'm using them. There's the mixture right there. Alrighty, so at this point, we got the batter all set and ready to go. So there's that. And what you typically want, you need to preheat your oven. Preheat your oven to 350. Mine is still currently warming up. And then you want to layer a cookie sheet with parchment paper. Now, right when I started making this, I realized, shoot, I might not have parchment paper. I only had a little bit, and it's not really a legit cookie sheet either. So we're gonna work with what we got. And what we really want to do, I take 2 spoons here, right? Just to make it easy because the texture isn't the same as the typical cookie dough. So I take 2 spoons and basically kind of wad them together to make 1 lump for 1 cookie. You'll see it in here in a second. But overall, there's my dog in the background. We got our batter all set and ready to go. All right, so usually that whole mixture will make at least like one of those sheets like full. I know it's not a perfect science by any means, but I only had so much parchment paper, so I actually have a second load that needs to go into the oven. And, so like I said, not a perfect science, and I understand to you purists out there, it's not a perfect scoop on each one of those. I eyeball it a little bit, but usually the batch will make about, I don't know, make about 14 cookies, maybe something like that, 12 to 14 cookies, something along those lines. And you just want to make sure that it's a reasonable size, right? I don't like perfect shape, so I like everything kind of in its own unique shape when it comes to baking. Once again, I'm not a baker, so I just follow the recipe. So you want this to be in the oven, baking at 350, and it's going to be in there, let's see, about 15 minutes max. I would say start watching it at about 13 minutes, and it really depends on your palate. Some people like a little bit more of the softer dough sort of thing in the middle of the cookies. Some people want them crisp. It's really up to you. 15 minutes is usually about the top range, so I usually look around 13, 14 minutes and then determine if I want to pull the thing out. So we'll be watching that, and that should be probably the next thing you actually see after this smile. All right, it's almost go time. Now, once again, I am no baking dietitian, scientist, whatever else. I'm going off of a recipe, and the recipe tells me what to put in it, and I eyeball sizing, things like that. So while the recipe might say there's 5 grams of carbs per cookie, chances are there's probably a little bit higher just because the cookies are a little bit bigger than what this recipe thought. But it looks like 3 grams of protein, 130 kcals, 5 grams of carbs, 3.3 grams of fiber, and 12.5 grams of fat per cookie. But once again, there we go. Once again, it's going to range a little bit, or vary, I should say, based on how you made them. So here we go. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That looks great. Let's pull these things out. Got a little crisp on top, that's perfect. A little brown, we're gonna let those rest. And then I'm going to transfer those onto the sheet here, just so they continue to rest on open air. And then we're going to put in the final 5 I have ready to go. So my batch made 13. I mentioned like 12 to 14, maybe even 15, depending on how small you make these things. Listen, these are pretty good sized cookies, the ones I made. So mine are going to be a little bit higher on the carb side of things, but you know what? They're freaking delicious. That's what matters. So mine's making 13. I have to put these on to rest over here, put the other 5 in the oven, and then you'll see the finished product here momentarily. Money! That's B money right there. All right, so there you have it. We got our keto chocolate chip, baked cookies, almond flour, obviously. Something to look forward to on a daily basis, other than just the typical keto type of food and meals and whatnot. Makes it a little bit easier because you always got something to look forward to, which is awesome. Once again, the recipe's below. And, if you have anything you'd like to think of, maybe to add, maybe you have a different recipe, comment below, subscribe below, hit the notification bell button below. But yeah, any feedback is awesome. But this is the almond flour keto chocolate chip cookie. Thanks for watching.